Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. Starting off here today in the strawberry field, just trying to get things cleaned up and get this fence finally finished up. I got the whole thing laid out and posts in the ground, string all run, but just little things like some of the connectors out at the other end need to be, finished up, and the wire has to get connected to it. The sand filters here have the lines still hooked up to them, so I'm gonna get them off, get them down in the shed. Right here is the actual fencer that I'm gonna be putting up out there. I already have the stake in the ground. So just some small stuff. And then hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we can get out here with the straw and get these covered. That way it helps protect from the hard freezes, not like we haven't already had some, and just makes a nice bed for the customers in the springtime. So we have the whole thing tipped backwards right now because if there's water laying in the tanks and then it freezes and expands, it's gonna bust these tanks or the line. So we wanted to get that drained out before we got the freezes. And now it's just a good idea to get these lines off. You don't want them out in here all winter long. Mice will come, make nests in them, all that kind of stuff. And we don't need that problem. So we'll see what we can do here. I'm trying to let it warm up, or I tried to let it warm up a little bit so that I didn't break anything and everything would hopefully come off half decent. There it is. Okay, so that's off. Now I can take this whole line and get it down into the shed. This part here is what hooks up to the actual irrigation line that comes out of the ground. Then it necks down into this 3-inch line into the sand filters and then goes out to the field. It's amazing, after a bunch of pretty hard freezes so far this year, the berries are still nice and green, look good and healthy. Right here is where the fencer is gonna go. Now, I'm completely new to this. I don't really know exactly how to hook this up, but we're gonna do it together. So this is the solar powered fencer. Obviously that's the solar panel. And it's made to sit out all year long. For us, it's gonna sit out for probably at least 3 years because that's how long a strawberry patch goes for us. And then right here is the connectors where I'm gonna hook the wires up to. But like I said, I'm not sure which one goes to which. And so that's what I'm gonna try and get figured out right now. Now, and I wanted to keep it lower so that when my dad comes over with the sprayer, he doesn't get a hold of this. Now I gotta figure out, and I should go get the instruction manual unless I watch a YouTube video on it, how to hook these up to the terminals here. First problem I'm seeing is it appears that I'm missing the screw on this side. And I don't know why. So the fencer's up. I'm definitely not the best with the electrical. So I gotta read the instruction manual a little longer, maybe talk to some people and just figure out exactly how to set this up around the field here, because I don't know, as far as like grounding wise and hooking up to the terminal, if all the wires need to get hooked up, if some of them need to get hooked up. I assume it needs to be like a continuous full circuit around the entire field. So I gotta figure some stuff out. But in the meantime, I came out here to the middle of the field, or kind of the middle of the field, where our regulator is. When the header line comes in here and then it hits this, this allows it to kind of regulate how much water and how much pressure goes to each line. And I think it even says on here, yeah, I think the max PSI is 15. That way, when it hits the drip lines, it's not putting more than that and blowing the drip lines apart. So it's a really good thing to have. And you can get different sizes for different size drip lines and all that kind of stuff. But for us, we wanted 15. And so anyway, I don't want this to freeze or bust or anything like that. So I'm just gonna unhook this and then unhook that and take this out of the field, and then I'll put plugs in. That way no mice get in the lines. This is really nice and easy, which I might put these connectors on here. That way I can remove it easily when I want to. So that's good. Now these also sometimes, or a lot of the time, are a big pain to get off. So I got the regulator off. It actually wasn't too bad at all. Now I come out here to Dad in the late season coal crops. This field is basically done. We've harvested all the cabbage that is really any good. Cauliflower has been done for a while. Collard greens and kohlrabi are done. And Dad is just now finishing up the last of the broccoli. Broccoli grows even after some hard frosts, but now it's just about done. There is still some little tiny ones here we might just use for home. But he's actually picking the last of it that we're gonna sell at the farm market. This other row actually looks pretty good. I just got hooked up to the trailer, backed it in when me and Frank are gonna bag corn. And Frank shows up with Daisy in his car, like a human. So we're just about set up. We got the scale. That's gonna be the bag we use out of to either take out or put in. And then we always appreciate when people bring bags back as long as they're in good condition. That way we can reuse them again because there's usually nothing wrong with them. This time we only have about 8 or 10 and then we're gonna use the rest new here.
That's a nice bag right there, I tell you. Is that one bouncing? Look at that. Did you get that one on the money?
No, it's heavy.
Oh, it didn't look that bad. Huh.
I wish I did. That one looks pretty cool. That one might be a little heavy too. So we just got right around the first 35 done. We're gonna do 70 altogether or something close to that. Did about as good of a job as I could getting them to that 50-pound weight. A lot of you guys ask in the comments, what do we do with it or what do the customers do with it? And most either feed like their farm animals that they have or their deer that they have, just, you know, feeding in their backyard or something similar to that. I would say actually probably most goes to the deer and then some are just their farm animals. 50-pound bag with a couple of deer doesn't take long and they'll have that eaten in a couple days. Frank will then bring them on the scale where he'll make sure they're 50. Wow, that one's like perfect.
Yeah.
We actually have it set at 51 just to make sure there's no problems. And then he'll put them on the back of the wagon here or trailer where I will go through with the bag sewer and get them all tied up. And they're done, ready to be sold. For the longest time, we've been trying to figure out some kind of way or seeing if we can get some kind of system to get it where it just puts out 50 pounds of corn in the bag every single time. We could eliminate this whole process here, but I don't know if that's really a thing. I don't really know. And then to try and have an electronic scale underneath there and trying to watch it as it fills up to 50, well then by the time you press the button, it keeps going a little bit longer and then it's gonna fill it too much anyway. So it's really hard to get that figured out, but eventually we're gonna try and get something automated that we can skip the whole, you know, dumping and figuring out process. finally getting our soybeans off. See the combine going through the field. The only problem is that they're pretty wet. So we're gonna see how the moisture comes out. I don't know if you remember the zinnia patch out here at the market from summertime, but Frank was out here this morning, got it all pulled out of the ground and in the dump trailer here. Now we're going through and pulling the staples out of the fabric, and then we're gonna roll this all up and get rid of this as well. We thought about reusing it, but we'll just get new for next year. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And so, I'm trying to show you here. These are the staples right here. They're kind of rusty after sitting in there all year. We just want to make sure we get them all out so that the mowers or anything like that don't get one of these through the tire. Not quite sure how this is going to go, but we'll see here in about 10 minutes. Then we didn't have quite enough of the heavy fabric that we put down in the greenhouses, so we used the field plastic, which is very thin and kind of a pain to get out, but we're working with it. Trying to fold the edges in first. There's a staple. Man, there's another staple. Wow, I thought I got all the staples out. Yeah. So the soybeans are now done. If I can get up in here. It's kind of cool. There's so many of them. Just little tiny beads. Moisture's pretty high in them, just from like feeling them. We got them in late, but there's really nothing else we could do. We just had an odd spring, couldn't get them in the ground, it was so dry. And so they got in late, but we'll see what happens when they get taken down to the mill and see what they charge us, because they gotta dry them down, then it takes more heat, which is more money, and then they take that off our pay. To finish off the day, Daisy and I are gonna do barn work. There's too many bowls in your way. If you watch my video with the cows in the barn, it's amazing how much different it is. But it is very nice having this wood storage in here. We used to have it on the back of a wagon underneath our shed down below the barn here. And obviously it had a lot more moisture, and sometimes the rain would blow in on it, and we had a lot of rotten boards and stuff on there we got rid of. So in here is very, very nice. One day eventually I'd love to have this like a wood shop, but that's gonna be a little bit down the road. But still kind of everything looks the same. Obviously still have the ditches. Over here we still have all the stanchions. We didn't have any cows in here for a long, long time. We used to have little cows, like we'd get them when they were real tiny and had to be bottle fed. So they'd go in here. which this wasn't, this whole thing wasn't here in the video. And I don't think this was either. But these two pens over here were, and those two pens over there were, which is still basically in the same exact shape that it was. Still have the chop cart. This used to actually get wheeled around to all the pens, but now obviously that's not needed. And for all I know, this could still be the same scoop. It actually got so bad, it started getting so cracked that we had to take it into school when I was still in school, which is like 4 years ago now, maybe 5, and get it re-welded just to fix it up. I have no clue where this duck has been for the past, well, all summer long. I thought for sure actually it died. I thought something ate it like a fox. And here he is. Good to see him though. He knows where the food is. When the cows go to take the chop with their mouths, obviously, they spill it on the floor, and then he, along with the birds, will come and pick up the finds. It's getting kind of dark now, but I forgot to show you guys, Frank has gotten the high tunnels cleaned out. I wasn't here that day, he did it. Looks like he even swept them. They're beautiful. Some people will actually, I don't know if they'll leave it down or they'll lift it and then lay the same thing back down again and reuse this plastic from year to year. Now my dad never says he wants to do that. He's always nervous of diseases and everything like that. And yes, you could sanitize, but could be in the soil, you just never know. But man, with how clean and perfect this is, you almost hate to lift it, but I'm sure we will anyway. So that's the lower one. And then right up here is what we call the upper one. This is the bigger one. I'll take a ride up there and quick show you that. Shade cloth on there still, we gotta get that off. Because when it snows, it's gonna stick right fast and it's gonna get too heavy for the top of the greenhouse. Wow, I can't believe it. He had to have swept this whole thing, which we've never done. Looks beautiful though. That's what I'm calling it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. You always remember it ain't much, but it's honest work.